Record. We're back. I like this hook. You got a book you want to tell us about? Well, let's talk. There's no other place to do it. Only on Catch the Craze. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I got munchies in my mouth, and I am with.
Get it up, I can't hear it. No bueno. George the Dreamer Medina. Can't hear it, dog.
You can't hear it?
Can't hear it. Can't hear it, can't rap. You know what I'm saying? I can't go a cappella. What's going on, brother?
Acapella. Acapulco. What's going on? Sorry about that. I was catching up on my, this is a late show, and I was trying to get my grub on, you know, and maybe a nice turkey sandwich. What's going on?
Nice.
What's going down,
Not much. Welcome, everybody, to Catch the Craze. This is the last show of the month in June,
Okay.
and we survived another week of quarantine. So, welcome.
Quarantinos. Yes, it's crazy. It's crazy out there. Before we proceed, we do have a guest. We have a group of people on the show today. It's going to be a lot of talking.
We're gonna have, it's gonna be crazy. We have the nerds of the round.
Nerds of the round
on the show today.
Yes.
Yeah, we got my man Sebastian, we got Tony from down the hall, and we got Law on the show today. So that should be fun.
Yes.
These guys have a podcast called Nerds of the Round where they talk about all kinds of geek stuff. So that'll be fun. We're gonna be doing that tonight. And then we also have, the topic of the day as we always do. But before we get into all that, what's going on with you, Sam? What you been up to?
What I've been up to? What haven't I been up to? I've been doing a lot of stuff.
What's going on this week?
This week, let's see. I've been doing a lot of pet TikTok stuff. So I've been doing a lot of TikToks with my animals, and they've been getting a lot of views. And I have one video with over 100 likes and crazy views. But it's just my animals do the craziest things. So just been filming them, working on the show, working on the Craze in 10 or less, working on trying to organize all of these, the backlog of interviews, because we have a database, and we're booked through forever.
You have. Well, before we even started this version of the show, you had at least 100 shows prior, right?
Yeah. Yes. And and I'm also getting ready to upload some of the archive shows.
Right.
It's all just audio. So I have about another 75 archive shows that I need to post, and they'll be posted on all podcasting platforms from iHeartRadio and Pandora, but it'll also be on YouTube with just an image of Catch the Craze, but with the audio of our archive guests, everyone from like Mike Oming and previous guests we've had before. So I'm working on that. So I just been busy in the studio in my blue room, doing my thing.
Your blue room,
Yes.
The blue room.
Yes.
I see that, man. You're there. How's Des doing? She's good.
She's doing good. She's dealing with me getting back into this because I'm a mad scientist. So I know it's been a little tough on her. So I try to get the honey-do list stuff out the way because she has a lot of stuff for me to do around the house. So every week I try to do a little more. So this way I stay in the good graces. Because when I walk into my cave, it's over because I'll be in here from 8 a.m. to midnight just grinding. And I only come out for the bathroom or to get a snack. And that's it. That's it. So
you should just bring the snacks in there. Why get out of there? Just bring them in there.
You should see this. I have walnuts. I have pecans. I have protein chips. I have crackers. I have my turkey sandwich. I have tons of these cans of seltzer water, sparkling seltzer water. I got my coffee cup. it's a hot mess in here. But that's what happens. Once I start focusing on something, I don't like to be distracted because it takes me off my game. And so, yeah, I've just been busy, just grinding, putting out content.
Good job, man. Good job.
What
That's
you
what
been
you
up
got to
to?
do. I've been up to Russ and promoting Wonder Duck, getting all that stuff going. Wonder Duck. The second part of the book is getting done now, so hopefully I'll start getting some artwork from the
Oh, they started already.
artist. Was that?
They started already.
Yeah. So they're doing the thumbnail process. So hopefully that'll start coming in, and yeah, be able to share some of that stuff. But yeah, man, I've been busy just trying to build the Instagram page as well. So follow me on Medina Whip on Instagram, Medina Whip WIP.
Whip it good.
And yeah, doing that, man, doing that.
Wow.
How's the website?
Oh, it's hot. My website's getting a lot of traffic, which is really great. So my strategy's been working on the promotion for the website. So a lot of the traffic coming to YouTube are coming from the website. So it's either coming from Instagram, Facebook, or I create stories that's going straight to the YouTube channel, which is really good. So that's working, and we're growing little by little, which is great. And I think it's pretty cool. We've had where are we now with this show? This is the last show of the month, right? So we have musicians on the show. We've had actors. We have directors. The show is really broadening, and we're expanding our reach to the creatives out there in the market. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody wants to come on the show, just hit us up, and we'll schedule you. Right now, we're looking for, I guess, shows in July.
Yeah, mid-July. Yeah, because I think early July is booked. So mid-July, August, we're securing that now. I'd love the month of August to be a writer's month. So if you're a writer out there, whether it's film writing, you write manuscripts or screenplays, or you're an author, or you're a comic writer, or you're a music writer, I love August to be the writer's month. So if you're a writer out there, hit us up. If you're listening to this right now, don't be shy. Stop on by. You never know. Give us a try. Holla.
Well, that's actually a good segue for the topic of the day, Sam. For the Get Your Meds.
You like that, right? Cause it's like that, and that's the way it is. So, what is the topic? Get your
topic
meds.
Of the day. Where's the love? Said the writer. Where is the love?
Yeah.
And so I guess we could tell the audience how the topic came up. You actually have a reason for this topic being brought up today, right? What do you got?
The reasons that we're here. So the reason why I brought that up is because I was thinking about Robert Garrett, who rest in peace, passed away. Robert Garrett is a writer, and producer of indie comics, also owner of Exmo Studios. He had a book called Galtao, and he had a lot of different stories. And so I remember traveling with him to conventions, and his biggest frustration was there were always portfolio reviews for artists, but there were never manuscript reviews for writers, or script reviews. And so when as a writer, when he would go and try to talk to an editor of a publication, whether it's Marvel, DC, or Mad Magazine or whatever, they weren't taking unsolicited stuff. And if they did, they just put it in a pile. But they weren't critiquing anything, and they weren't taking the time to invest in 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, to just engage that person, the writer. So it was very frustrating for him, and he was always, almost like walked away defeated, saying, So the question came to my mind was, why is it that there aren't manuscript reviews at cons? Why is it that we are just a visual-based medium? Mm-hmm. And why aren't we, and why is it so hard for a writer to break in than it is for an artist?
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like you said, it's a visual medium. So whenever like a writer, I guess, goes up to an editor from any comic book company, they'll always tell them, hey, you know what? Get that stuff drawn, bring it back when it's got an artist attached to it. They almost don't even want to read your manuscripts unless you have a writer attached to it. And I was like, and you left me thinking, like, why? Why? Not why, not the why, but I guess why is it that writers don't get the
Respect.
I guess don't get the time. People don't take the time to
Right.
read stuff from writers,
Right.
and part of it is because it is a visual medium. That's part of it. But then at the other side of that, um, I was looking at how much does a comic book writer make in the United States, and entry level like salaries, like salaries are usually about 20,000 a year for a writer to make, like in the comic book industry. Um, some of them make 48,000. Of course, the big time people. I mean, some of them can make up to $20 million a year doing what they're doing. But you have ever noticed on a comic book how the name of the writer comes first, and then the name of the artist? So, like, if you buy a comic book, the writer's name is always going to be first, and then the artist.
Right.
But I guess it's harder to get into the industry as a writer because you have to have an artist in order to get it in as a writer.
Right. But then my what prevents organizations from creating a writer's pitch room where you give that elevator pitch, and if you grab their attention, then you get an hour, half hour, 20 minutes, whatever, with an editor, and they review your stuff if they bought into your elevator pitch. What's preventing from creating something like that? Why is it so challenging for a writer to break in? I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that there are a lot more artists than there are writers.
Yeah.
And a lot of the writers are not leaving their posts. Right? So it's harder for you to break in because I don't think writers want to look at other writers because they don't want to be replaced. Where artists, they come a dime a dozen. I mean, they're all over the place, and so there's work for everybody. And the best ones are going to rise to the top. I just think I've been trying to understand the philosophy. It doesn't affect someone like me because I write and I illustrate.
Right.
But those guys that want to just break in and write for a company, not necessarily write for themselves, or want to get professional feedback in the moment so that they can adjust. And is it because no one wants to take the time to read? You know what I'm saying? It's like
yeah.
but you have long lines for portfolio reviews, right? So what? It takes 10 minutes to go and flip through a couple of pages and say, "Oh, you're not good enough, kid. Keep working. Get out of here." You know what I'm saying? Where as a writer, you actually have to read and sit down and go and process it and really give critique. And if you're, and this is where it gets a little more technical on my part. If you're an insecure writer and you run across a writer who has promise, do you tear him down for the sake of securing yourself? You know what I'm saying? So how honest is the feedback? Which is why I like panels. I believe that a con should have the pitch room, and you have 5 of the top editors from 5 different organizations, right? And you pitch to that five guys. This way you don't have bias with one individual, right? So and they're all listening, and then you have 5 different perspectives. So and they judge whether or not they want to take you to the second round, the next round. That next round is now you have our attention. We bought into your pitch. Now, summarize your story. Let's talk about your story. And then they read the first 5 pages, whatever it is, and give you full, honest critique. You know what I mean? And what's preventing events from doing something like that?
Yeah. I guess for me, and when I think about that question, like, why is it that the writer has to jump through more hoops to get a job versus, just going to a convention and saying, here's what I write. And then I'm thinking maybe it boils down to money. What we're going to pay you depends on how good your stuff is, but we need to sit down and kind of go through it before we hire you. So I found an article on Money magazine, right? The magazine Money.
Money, 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 money.
It said writers. Okay, this is strictly for writers.
Okay.
If you can get a salary gig, okay, it typically pays $55,037 according to Glassdoor. Okay,
55,000.
55,000 salary gig
Okay.
as a writer at a comic book company. Okay. However, many times these jobs are also paid on a project basis. Right. Many of the publishers break up the creation of a title in an established series, hiring artists to lay out the plot and another one to do the script.
Writer, you mean?
Was that?
Writer. You said artist. You mean writer?
Many of the publishers break up the creation of a title in an established series, hiring writers, to lay out the plot and the other the script. So a writer can earn between $20 and $100 for an entire script outline at the bigger publishers.
A flat rate? $20 flat rate?
Between 20 and 100.
An hour?
You give me a plot, I'm going to give you $20, maybe 30, 50. If you're really good, I'll give you 100.
What?
Okay, for an entire script outline, at the bigger publishers, according to the Fair Page Rates survey. Okay, it's a survey they did.
This is $20 a page?
$20, no, for the outline. So you write an outline. You say, okay, I have an idea for a story. Here's the outline. What do you think? It's about $20 worth of information here. Thanks. Goodbye.
Right? And now you give it to your own writing team and says, here, flesh this out.
Now let's beat this thing up.
Yes.
And make it $1 million idea.
I got jacked.
We just paid that guy $20, right?
Yeah.
After an outline is in place, writers will be hired to add all of the dialogue and story to each page. Now, they said that at Marvel, for example, you typically earn between $80 and $100 for this job. And this is according to artist Money interview. So Money interviewed artists at Marvel and said, hey, man, how much do you get paid to add dialogue and story to a page? To each page. And they're like, I get about $80 to add dialogue for a page.
For one page.
To add dialogue and story to each page. So $80. Now, I don't know if this is per page. It doesn't specify. You typically earn between $80 and $100. So I'm assuming it's per page. I hope it's per page, dude. I really do. Because that's crazy not to pay it per page.
Yeah.
But that's how much a writer would make, okay? Let's go up to a penciler. Now, for those who don't know, and obviously we know, but for those who don't know, the penciler is the person who takes the story and gives it life, sketching out the scenes in pencil and crafting the basic outline of the landscape and the characters within it.
Right.
Starting rates for these artists usually range from $160 to $260 per page at the big comic publishers like Marvel and DC. So a Marvel penciler is getting anywhere between $160 to $260 per page, where the writer is getting 80 to 100 to add dialogue and story to each page. So maybe that's why they don't really want to look at your stuff at the conventions, because they're going to be shelling out a lot of money to that penciler. Oh, by the way, the inker usually gets 75 to 100 per page. Now,
how is the inker getting more than the writer, or is equal to the writer?
Now listen, this is from an article from 2017. So now those rates probably went up. You know what I mean? But still, think about how the disparity between the two payments. Isn't that crazy?
Yes. Especially when you look at, you just said it earlier, that the lead name is the writer's name.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's the writer that's giving life to the book. But then, so then on the flip side of the coin, would the writing been as powerful for Spider-Man, and would it have sold as many copies as it sold when Todd McFarlane came in and enhanced the spider web and the angles and contorted Spider-Man's body and expanded his eye socket to make it bigger? So the writing it wasn't selling 10 million copies until
Right.
Todd McFarlane came over and did his thing.
That's the thing.
But how
Yeah,
many McFarlanes are there?
that is a good question.
You
I
know,
mean, it also says here that compensation for comic book artists. Now, this is artist, pencil and inker, does it all.
right.
Comic book artists. Compensations can range dramatically depending on both experience and the publisher. For example, it's not uncommon for new artists to make $2,000 for a 100-page book. Okay, depending on how fast the artist can work, that's only about $2.50 an hour for someone who spends about 8 hours working on each page. However, experienced artists who design and execute the cover art can command much higher rates, up to $600 per page at some publishers. It says at many of the bigger comic companies, the art on the page is paid by that type of job, and sometimes multiple artists will be hired to do each piece. So if you're starting out, you know what I mean, nobody's heard of you, and you want to just get your feet wet. In 2017, some artists were getting paid up to $2,000 for 100 pages. So, if you're just trying to get in,
Right.
you know what I mean? Maybe you were taking that $2,000-$3,000 or whatever for the 100-page book, and doing what you have to do with that. And then eventually, I mean, some people, I mean, obviously you've worked with artists. Some people, this says $600 per page. You're talking about some artists charge about that for a cover.
Yeah, and yeah, I think it all depends on the portfolio and the experience and the depth of work. Because Deviant Art is an artist hub, but there are a lot of artists who are unknown, who's never had any published work or anything out there, but they're trying to command that rate. But they have no portfolio other than their own as far as anything published or anything out there.
Right.
So I think that's a little premature on their part. I think sometimes you have to work towards it. Then you have you have other artists like the guy I found. His name was I think it was Eric. He does a lot of big masterpiece for gaming, and his work is out there internationally, and so we negotiated and we landed on a fee, but it was pricey. It was pricey, but he did a fantastic job on the cover for Forbidden,
Right.
which was coming out at the end of the year. So I'm willing to pay if you have that experience and you have that depth and you have that notoriety, because I'm not just paying for the art, but I'm paying for the name.
Right.
So I think that comes along with it. So it's just very fascinating to see how the writer who's giving life to all these characters is making just as much as the inker.
Yeah.
Who's just a copier.
You said a copier.
And I know inkers are gonna probably hate me right now for saying that, but you're really just going over and copying over art. Some inkers know how to give life to penciled work, but not all can do that. With cross hatching and shadowing and lighting and all that other stuff. But most of the time, the artist is giving you the direction anyway, in the way they shade and when they put in the X's and whatever around. So I think that's pretty fascinating. And I wonder why there's such a gap.
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting article as far as and I wonder again, from 2017 to 2020, I wonder how much it's changed in 3 years. But why do they basically say to the artist, to the writer, no, you got to submit that a different way? I guess
because I've been there. I've seen it. I've witnessed. He and I did dozens of conventions together, and event after event after event. He'd watch as I go to the portfolio review, or I get to talk to all these artists, and he's trying to get to an editor or writer, and no one's giving him the time of day.
Right.
And he, and it was very frustrating on his part, and that's why he was so adamant about self-publishing, because he didn't think anybody was going to give him the opportunity, because no one would even look at it.
Yeah.
You know, and then when someone did take it, they threw it. We watched that they just threw it in a pile.
Hmm.
Who knows that pile just goes up in the trash when they're packing up. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
he never got feedback for it. So I think that's the hard pill to swallow. And I'm wondering if you're right out there, you listen to this. Have you had the similar experience? Have you had a better outcome? Um, you know, I'd love to hear it. We love to hear it. Let us know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wonder when you walked up to that table, did they say, "All right, we'll take it," or did they want your script
No, with it,
drawn?
I could tell you right now, 3 out of 4 always said, "Do you have art with it? Get an artist.
Oh yeah.
We'll look at it with the art." Because no one wants to read. No one wants to read on a plane. No one wants to read going back. They don't want to read it. And
Mhm.
that's the crazy part. You
Right.
know, because how do you know you're disregarding the next biggest writer?
See, but I think with how big independent publishers or just creator-owned comics have become, you can at that point. I think a lot of these guys, the same guys, the Roberts that were tired of hearing no, get it drawn. They went out and they just wrote their own stories,
Yeah.
got them published, and now then maybe companies now are reaching out to them saying, "Can you write for us now?" Because they see their work.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess that was a way for them to kind of get me personally. I don't think about writing for Marvel or DC. Like that's never been a thing for me. Like I've never thought, I want to write for them, or I want to develop something for them. It's not something that's ever it's piqued my interest. I don't know about you, but I've never been interested in doing that. I just haven't. I don't know.
I've always wanted to tour, spend a day in a life in the Marvel Studios, just to see
Hmm.
the behind the scenes and watch them work and how they communicate and how the editor proofs everything and communicates to the writer and how the writer partners with the artist and how the artist. Yeah, I would just love to see the setup
Yeah,
from every phase and then how it goes to like the marketing team and what they do from that end and and the planning team and the PR team. And I would love
yeah,
just to see a day in the life. I've always fascinated by just the behind the scenes, not necessarily wanting to work for them. It was more of just being able to shadow, like an intern, shadow and see what happens on the back end,
yeah.
on the
Do you
educational aspect.
do you think that they still work that way though? Do you think that there is like almost like what like a ballpen, like they used to call it the ballpen back in the days? Do you think that there's still people sit in a room, artists, tables all over the place, and the page goes from this guy to that guy to that guy, and it goes to
No, I
the
don't think so. I think a lot of them work externally from home.
okay,
I
so
think everyone works remotely. I think the core players work from office. I think that the higher echelon have to be at the office because they're probably have to communicate with top brass, so they have to be there. But I think artists probably work externally. And this is just me, speculating. But
yeah,
I would think that to save on rent costs, and um, I think they would just have everybody work mobilely,
yeah,
because
yeah.
you
I
can.
mean, and that is fascinating. I would love to see what a writer's meeting is like, or
Yeah.
what editor in chief sits down and says, "All right, guys, we got to think about what we're going to do for the next 6 months.
Yes.
Uh, what kind of stories do we have going on, and what are some of the plot points? How are we going to use that and bring it into this story and that story? And what is the latest thing that we're going to do as far as crossover?" And like, yeah, those are interesting. I remember being at a panel at the New York Comic Con, and like the Archie group came in, and it was like, and they were talking about a day, like what they would do and what they had been talking about in the discussions and the meetings. And I always wondered, you're right, and it is kind of fascinating to think, damn, that's your job, bro. Like that's what you go do every day. You just wake up and you're gonna go make some comics.
Yeah,
It's just not.
I would love to
Yeah,
shadow Joe Quesada. You know what I'm saying? To see, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
at the height of at the early stages of when he became the Don. You know what I mean? And just to see, what goes through his mind. How did he approach each? You got to think about something as big as Marvel when they have all the tie-ins that spilled over into all these other titles. What was that like? what was that communication like? That meeting like when you this is gonna spill over into Spider-Man at this issue. So so this is gonna spill over to X-Force and this issue and all those writers that are responsible for making that happen, and the editor is responsible for making that happen to make sure no one misses a beat. That must be fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how much? Yeah, the logistics to keep all of that straight.
All right, so we have Lawrence on the rating room.
That?
We got Lawrence in the rating room, so I'm gonna admit him, our first guest.
He's waiting. Well, why don't you wait for all of them to show up?
Okay, so keep him waiting.
Yeah, it's Let me send them a message. I think just wait for them.
All right.
And now we can get them all together.
All of them together now. Where's the main? Yes, we got Lawrence Benedict has entered. See waiting room. Let me see the waiting room.
That's cool, man. This whole technology, the new technology is crazy. I know you sound like old man right now, but it's like, wow, what? That's great. That's cool.
Great. Yeah. So we have him in the waiting room, so we're gonna wait. You gotta wait for your friends in order to play.
We'll get them all together. These guys are fun, man. We had a really good time when I spoke to them. We did an interview. Unfortunately, my audio didn't come off well, but whatever.
Yeah, story of your life.
My story of my life. So but it was fun, dude. It was a good time with those guys. They're funny. They're funny guys. But yeah, interesting topic, dude. I mean, if there are any writers who work for Marvel or DC and are listening to the show and want to give us a little insight as to the ins and outs, anybody out there,
like,
let us know, man.
Yeah. Like, you're right. But yeah. No, if you're right out there, we'd love to get your perspective. Because it's fascinating. It's just that just the rate of pay is also fascinating. It was like,
yeah,
I'm just as important. I'm just as important. I'm not underplaying the role of the inker, but you're just copying. The writer and the artist. And the inker's an artist. You have to know how to draw in order to be an inker. And sometimes you're an artist. You're coming in as an entry level as an inker in order to earn your and learn the Marvel way or the DC way or whatever it is. But to make the same as a writer, what? Say it ain't so.
Oh shoot!
That's
crazy. Listen, I'll pay the penciler that much money, but I'm not paying the inker more than the writer.
That's crazy. That's crazy. It's like, dang.
Oh, that is great.
Yes.
That is great.
So we'll go
Who's the you're gonna go to commercial? They're there?
No, I only see one, but I'm gonna go to commercial. Hopefully they'll all be there by the time we get back.
All right, go for it.
Let's go for it. So I think I'm gonna do number 3.
All right, so if we do this, it can work.
It has to work. We have to catch it. What are you talking about? Are we gonna catch it? We're gonna catch it. Yo, stop it.
Stop what? I didn't do anything.
My bad. I was thinking of something else. We're going now. We're going now. We're going now. Not now.
Hey, you alright?
Yo, I'm cool. I'm just acting up. Yo, don't even think about it. Think about what? We get to book it. To the Craze. We get to book it. To the Craze.
Yo, think about what? Why do you keep looking over your shoulder?
Is the Craze at the disco? Oh, I have these great platform shoes I can wear. Yo, can we all just focus? We're never gonna catch the Craze with all these distractions.
Okay, I'm gonna come back tomorrow. You're gonna get some rest, and we can work on catching the Craze another time. All right?
Yo, I'll catch you later. All right. I'll catch you later. Really? What is your problem? Me? My problem? What's your problem? You're ruining everything. Me? Me? I'm trying to help you catch the Craze. Oh my! It's not a You know what? Just stop. Stop what? Stop what? Just stop acting up.
You so crazy, crazy. All right, so now we have Lawrence and Sebastian in the waiting room.
Oh, wow. 2 out of 3. You want to bring them in?
Let's bring
We'll
them
start
in.
with those 2.
Let's start with the 2. What you gonna do? Add. All right. Close. Do. Look at this. Hello.
Oh, Sebastian, you're getting fancy, kid.
Oh,
Look at that background.
You fancy,
Look
son.
that's it.
You're acting up. What happened to my toilet paper?
Bro, yo, when you got Taco Tuesdays, you run through that toilet paper.
That's awesome.
Oh, man, that's
How
great.
you guys been?
Pretty
All
good.
right, chilling. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Getting back into the creative vibes. Been a little crazy last few weeks.
Yes.
Good,
Other
good.
than
All
that,
right.
great, man. Shit. Finally got my bag of M&Ms. M&M shortage, man.
Oh, shoot.
I love that background.
What is it? That's Goblin Slayer.
Yes, that's good.
That is probably the manga and the anime is probably the first like episode issue. I don't think a lot of people were ready for.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes you play like the different role playing games, right? You got your different character classes and everything.
Right.
Completely like takes off that whole rookie class. You think it's gonna be like this whole fun little mission. They're going out on it, and then all of a sudden, the goblins take advantage of them. Take advantage of them bad. The entire party just, except for this one right here, she was the member of that party. She's like their cleric, and she got to survive because of this dude right here, who just came and saved them. Great animation, great artwork. I recommend it for people to check it out.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Good job, dude. Good job. So we're just waiting for, I guess, I thought Lo was here, and I guess
I'm here, but my video is not coming in.
Oh, there he is. What's going on, Lo?
What's going on? Sorry, I jumped in and then like I got mad quiet because I was like, why is my video just like not here right now?
Yeah.
Sounds like he's hiding from somebody. Like he's like in the witness protection program or whatever.
Right?
He's like, I'm here. I just can't. You can't see me.
No, we can't see you. We can hear you. He's behind the door whispering.
I have to use like Morse code.
Yeah, so check this out, guys. We Sam and I were having a discussion about the pay rates in comics, right? Tell me if you think this is fair. Do you think it's fair that the writer starting out gets paid less than the inker? Do you think that the inker should get paid more money than the writer?
I think it should be equal in terms if you're the creative team that's working on the entire book itself, unless you're the creator of the series, which then should get you a nice.
There we go.
There you go.
I mean,
That's rough.
Yeah.
I've always paid for my artists. I've not been paid as a writer yet. I've always just like paid. I've always had a project and needed artists. But with that said, I would say it like Sebastian said, it would go from creative, like or creator to I would dare say you would give like the inker, the artist, the writer pretty much the same across the board, if anything.
I got you. Because Sam, tell them what you think about the
I'm like, you're crazy. So, I write ink and I illustrate most stuff. What?
Oh.
What is that? Que eso? He's got a deal going on the table. What's another stack of that toilet paper? So, I just think it's crazy that I think the two people that should be paid the most are the writer and the artist, because the inker is really like a copier. It's someone's just gonna apply. For me, it's just crazy to understand that you have the writer who's giving life to the story, and then the artist takes it and enhances it visually. But then the inker is the middleman. So how is the two primaries, the inker is getting just as much?
All right, so
because the inker doesn't have to do any of the legwork.
What's a rate that you would pay? Like, what are going rates right now for each job right now?
All right, check it out. So I,
Tell him,
I was
George.
I was looking this up, right? And now this is 2017 numbers, so these things could have changed and might have changed a lot.
Right.
Okay.
But in 2017, according to Money Magazine, okay, a writer script outline for the script and the outline was getting anywhere between $20 to $100 just for the outline of a story for the bigger publishers. I'm talking about the big publishers. Somebody's walking in there with an outline and they're giving them $20, dead ass. Like that's what they're doing. Okay. If he decides, okay, you're gonna write the script and the dialogue for it, we'll give you $80 to $100 a page. Okay, that's nice.
Okay.
The penciler gets at Marvel and DC anywhere between $160 to $260 per page. Okay. The inker, $75 to $100 a page. The inker. The colorist, $20 to $121. The letterer, $10 to $25 a page. So we're talking about writer. So the writer can go in there, drop an outline, and get $20. The anchor is guaranteed $75 a page. You guys think that's fair?
Let's take. I mean, what credentials is the writer? Is the writer the creator of the series? Is he just someone?
No, this is
like a writer working for Marvel.
For Marvel DC. Like he just walks in and says, "Hey guys, I got an outline. Okay, cool. Leave it on the desk. Here's $20. Goodbye." Like, you know what I mean? Depending on how much you like it.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty low. I mean, $20 a page.
No, that's the outline.
That's the outline, dude.
Yeah, no, that's
Because the page stuff afterwards, like after you get, it sounds like after you get approved for the outline to do the story and get the main script done, you'll get a little bit more. But that first outline, they're like, all right, whatever. Like we see outlines and read them all the time.
Right.
I'm getting to the point where I would like to see artists, writers, inkers, people who work on comics actually get royalties on some of these books, like residuals, like a small percentage after. So it's like, you put it all in there. These companies are going to get big money off the sales and everything. But, if you're working there, creating the work, creating the stories for them, you should get residuals of what that particular book had made on the market, regardless of where you worked at.
Yeah. Lo, you're a writer, Lo?
Mm-hmm.
So now, have you ever gone to a convention and like try to go up to like one of these editors from like the big 3 or whatever, or the big 2 or whatever, and they never take your script and they just tell you, nah, go see get it drawn and then bring it back?
I haven't even pitched to big studios yet. So I only jumped into writing when I got with InBeon like 5 years ago. So I got with InBeon and it was like, all right, I could write this and that third. And it wasn't for a while before I started working on scripts. So I was like maybe 2 years in before I started like looking at scripts and spitballing and brainstorming with people and putting on projects. And then I want to say my first comic didn't get released till like last April. Yeah. But it wasn't a direct InBeon project. It was something that we just got done, published it to the mag, but now we're rebranding and relaunching it for our own thing.
Nice. Can you say what it is or no?
Yeah. It's a webcomic called You Can't Be Serious. So it's me, my buddy Tommy, our boy Kimbo, and it is basically everyone says like it's a Jay and Silent Bob horrorverse kind of thing, but we get into the horrorverse in the first few episodes, and we're essentially walking around and we're spoofing everybody. So we run into Jason and we show him how to swim. So we put like swimmies on him, and we're just like, this is how you like gonna get the kids. We're gonna like set a trap for them, and you're gonna go kill them. And like we're just assholes. Like you see us with like I got a can of beer. Tommy has a blunt in his mouth. Like we're just like crazy. Like we don't give a fuck. The next few episodes down, we go to the Shining Hotel. After the Shining Hotel, we run into Freddy. So now we have to like escape from Freddy, but try to double cross him and like trick him so we can kill him. And then we end up having Jason kill him. It's a whole big thing. So we are currently what episodes or issue rather? Issue 12 should be out within the next few weeks or so. We've had like a little like back and forth because of all the Corona stuff, but yeah, it's been almost, one issue a month for the last year.
Good for you, brother. Good for you. And people can get this at InBeon.com?
Right now, they were able to, but we took it off the main site and we're putting it on our Geek Ronin website.
Okay, what is the website?
Geek Ronin. So GeekRonin.
Nice. All right, I gotta check that out.
I'm currently in charge of doing the transfers, but if you want to look at the comic, like we also put it on our Instagram page and our Facebook page. So if you go to YCBS Comic, you'll see the behind the scenes footage. So you'll see a lot of the work in progress sketches that Kimbo does and whatnot. It's a really funny comic. Like it's weird that I laugh harder even after like I'll laugh writing it. Send it to Kimbo. Send it to Kimbo and Tommy because Tommy and me are both writers and Kimbo's the artist. So it'll be like Tommy writes a few issues, I'll write a few issues, and then when we write, we send it to Kimbo. So we'll send it in the group chat, and then Tommy will be like, "How do you like it?" And I'm looking at it. I'm like, "Why don't we change this and put this here?" He's like, "All right, bet." So then we send it to Kimbo. Kimbo's like, "All right, we're gonna have to do this as 5 panels." All right, cool. So we'll do it as like a 5-panel webcomic. And then he'll be like, he'll change little things, but he won't tell us until we get it. And then we get it back. And he's like, I did a little tweaks. Let me know how you like them. And then we're looking at them, hysterically laughing. And it's gotten really good feedback. A lot of my friends and, friends and family, whatever the cases that I showed, and a lot of just random people that are just like, yo, that shit is so, like, I've had friends of friends, like, been shared, like, this comic to, reach back out to me and be like, yo, what's the next issue? And I'm like, what? Like, what? We were trying to get it animated by NYCC last year, but the animator that we had in mind got a promotion. So at his job. So it was just one of those things where we were just like, no. So we'll see. It'll probably be something like, because, there was plans to do a bunch of stuff with it, but it's a really fine line with, because we're using other property characters.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. How does that work?
So it only works because we're doing spoofs of it. Like we're doing not really a direct like.
Yeah.
Like this is the So it's a very fine line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it'll work if we have it as an animation, as a comic, and we don't sell the product itself. We just have it as something for people to enjoy.
Gotcha. Have you read any issues, Sebastian? Have you read it or?
Oh, because I was working as the editor-in-chief of the mag, I was one of the first who got to see it when they were done with it. Nice. And they told me when they had Jason and the little arm. I just died.
For reference, this is maybe like issue 2. I think it was like issue 2. And in real life, I am a swim teacher. So they had Jason, Kimbo put him in swim floaties, and I have like a guard hoodie and swim shorts and whatnot, and I'm teaching him how to swim in Crystal Lake, the lake. And Kimbo sends it with like pink swimmies, and we're like, yo, that's so funny. He goes, wait, I got something better. 10 minutes later, he comes back and draws little hearts all over the swimmies. I was dying. Like, there's certain little nuggets that he'll put in just for me and Tommy.
Yeah,
for me and Tommy. And then I'm just like, fucking love you, kid. Like, it's so good.
I gotta check it out, man. I gotta find this thing. So geekronin.com, I guess, and then
geekronin.com. We're currently like redoing the website because right before all of this happened, we were working on a documentary series. So we're doing a big push for that, getting the editing done, whatever the case is, and then all this happened and everything else piled up on top of it. Like we're down an editor, I'm down a working laptop to edit, so I can't edit my own stuff. So it was a lot of moving parts, but we're gonna get back to the comic, get back to the documentary, and hopefully get back to podcasting as well, because I miss podcasting with the crew.
I know, yeah. I was gonna ask you guys how that's going, and how are you doing? How are you doing, Sebastian, at home with the editing and all that stuff? Are you still doing stuff?
I was mad with the audio.
Oh man.
But we tested last week. Skype. We just did a whole meetup, tested how the recording works. So we're gonna do our first full-fledged episode testing with Adrian King from Adrian Has Issues. Because he does podcasts, and so he does it like this, audio, even before COVID. So it will be great to have his feedback to help out with that and see how the episode goes. But so far, the audio sounds good. We're still trying to take time to see if we can save the audio from the previous podcast we recorded, because yours and Eric's, those are the two that I'm really upset that we.
Wait, both of them were a bust.
When I contacted, because Tommy's our audio guy too, he's a main. I asked him what would be the issue. He's like, it might have been a connection, and I think that was what the issue was. Whatever device was plugged in, the connection was something, and it wasn't transferring the audio. My audio you can hear. Everyone else is like, holy shit. It's not
oh man, that sucks, dude. That sucks.
But like I said, we're getting back more into creative stuff and all that right now. Last month was just really hectic with, getting on projects and then dealing with stuff that was like a lot of scares that were going on with the family. So my brother Matt had a scare with his son because his mother-in-law had caught it. So there was a lot of that was running around. But hearing everybody's doing well and all that, we're getting back into things, heads more focused. Even getting to play with everybody in Dungeons and Dragons has helped kind of line up everything, because Law doesn't like Dragons. We have fun with it though. We both getting off each other's feedback and everything. And it's great too, because we've been using that as a way of also to help with creative, because it's definitely helped with character designs, because again, working with two projects that are going to be under the InBeon umbrella, we're putting together that. Not yet to name yet until everything is done. I've been recording the footage too, so that this way it gets a little bit of it behind the series. And we're just trying to bounce off each other and everything. But I'm excited to get back to recording the podcast this Friday.
Yeah.
And I just want to really get back to where it's more of live, where we're all in person again, can share a beer and get off that feedback.
It's been weird, man. I feel like I'm going through highs and lows of creative, yay, and then mentally I'm just drained. I am such a I want to see my boys. I want to hug everybody. Yo, what's up? I have more nieces and nephews than I need to. During this whole thing, I found out that I was gonna be an uncle 2 more times, and I was like, "You guys, I don't even have my own kids yet. Come on." But I love them. It is what it is. But it's whack. It's super whack. Despite all of the stuff that's going on. So I'm trying to, as best as I can, make the most of it. But it's super daunting. There's days that I'm the least creative that I ever am. And then there's other days I'm all right, I can get this done. But hopefully sooner than later, man, this is all over and I could just get back to a normal outside. I'm a video photography guy now. So being indoors in my same house in the same floor, it is driving me up the wall. Yeah. And especially because this is my season. It's getting nice outside, it's getting nice and warm, blah, blah. I could just walk around the city all day with my camera.
Right. Yeah. Well, listen, we're here being joined by nerds of the round. We're missing one of you guys, though. I think Tony's still out there somewhere.
He's going to try to make it on a little bit later because he got kind of tied up or something. It's he's doing something with his wife at home. They're fixing stuff.
We'll hold it down. So when things do get back to normal, fellas, what are some of the plans for the show? Do you guys have any ideas as to where you're going to take the show from here?
When we first started the show, it was all again about like I said, the origins was when I started it. It was off of Geeks Unlimited. Law was one of the very first guests on this show.
First guest of the dark episode that we don't ever talk or show the world.
Find out, we hid that episode. It was bad.
So bad.
And I thank everybody at Geeks Unlimited because they're really building their brand. My boy Mike, Steven. And it's just it was one of those things I just had to take on the road. We tried different formats, and then Tony came along as the guest because I was like, yo, you want to come on? Law was the recurring guest, and eventually bumped up Tony to co-host. And then Law just was as always there. I was like, dude, you're the third man. That's it. And then it's just gelled. So I think from there we were just finding our format, but then now it's like we're getting to talk to more creatives in various different fields, from comics, YouTube, and all that. And it's like, who are people that are?
It's also we're taking a step back to go back to YouTube content, because originally when we started out, we were mostly just video, and then we started taking it and just being audio, and then we were like, yo, like the video component, like short little snippets. We don't even need the whole interview, just short little digestible like things that people can enjoy. And this dude's been killing it. Him, Jesse, like Jesse's been killing the edits, but the thumbnails like on them, like when we especially like we did the My Hero movie, and the thumbnail for that, he just like pulled out of his ass, like from downtown, and we're just like, where did this come from? Like, yo, bro, we need thumbnails like this all the time. So I'm super excited to have more YouTube content. We're talking to more creators, which has been really dope. So it's a good time all around. I want more of what we've been doing. I feel like a lot of what happened kind of put a slight halt to a lot of things that we were working on.
Why did you guys go from video to audio and then stayed in audio rather than going to video? Like, what was that? What happened there?
I think what was happening at the time, because my wife was the only one doing the video editing. Okay. During COVID, I was trying to help now. No, so we were doing, like, the whole channel started first. It was YouTube video. That's how it was. It was a quick YouTube show. But then we were just having really long conversations between me, Tony, and Law, because when you get us in the room, we can talk, and we will talk about a subject.
Each early episode, I think, was like
an hour,
like not even 30 minutes, 40 minutes at most. Because you guys kept it really short with like, these are the topics, this is what we're gonna hit, pop, 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 and then this is the episode. It wasn't until like me and Tone started getting really like heavily into the roster that I think we started doing like the hour and a half long talks, and it was just like, yo, like this, like then I don't know why it took so long for us to get onto like Anchor and all these other audio platforms, but it worked. It definitely worked in our favor. But it was one of those things that we were on it for so long that we almost forgot, like, oh shit, like we have people that know us for YouTube content and for seeing our faces. So it was cool that we, you know, when we talked about it as a team, that we were able to like bring that all back.
Yeah. I think Tony's jumping on now.
What's that?
I think Tony's jumping on now. So
nice.
Is he in the waiting room?
Not yet.
Not yet. Jumping onto the link now. That's what he said. But no,
I caught some of the stuff that you guys had done earlier, and I like some of your, like the intro was cool, man, with the tape, with like the, you know, some of just the graphics and stuff like that, and then you guys would just go in and just, you guys like literally had a good time. Yeah. You know?
Hey guys, what's going on?
Welcome.
Oh,
hey. Chilling.
Oh man.
What's up, Tone? How you doing, man?
Have we officially started, or like
we've been going?
I'm good.
I'm so used to like an intro and like a hey, you just jump it.
No, you guys. So we have a commentary before the guest comes on. So yeah.
Okay.
So we were chatting about the writers' compensation, and that's why we added you to the conversation.
Yeah. So you'll see it when you see the show. You'll see how it goes from that. It's almost like what you were talking about, Law, where there's almost like some kind of format.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when we start talking to the talent, we just go in, we just start asking questions and just have fun with it. Yeah, yeah. So whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll talk about. But I like the fact that you, I didn't know, Law, that you wrote. I knew about Sebastian and what he's working on, but I had no idea what you were doing. And Tone, what are you up to, bud? What's going on with you?
Dude, just trying to survive this shit, man. Like, you know, it's me, my wife, and my 2 kids. I'm legit just working from home. So, you know, doing whatever we can for the team, for the InBeon team. I do more behind the scenes stuff for InBeon. That's kind of been my role. So I'm helping there. And then, you know,
2 fancy new titles and an upgrade.
Yes, 2 fancy new titles and an upgrade. And, you know, we're just hoping to jumpstart our project back up, because it's been a while. It's been a bit of a lull. You but happy to be on and talk and BS and whatever it is,
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
So
you guys have a very funny intro when you guys start up. And Tone, you are what's your name on the show?
Tone from across the hall. Because I literally live across the hall from Sebastian. There is no there's no pun, there's no fancy thing to it. It just kind of happened and it stuck.
I'm so mad that I don't live in Parkchester anymore. Like years ago, like 2009, I want to say, I lived in Parkchester for like a year. Bro, I wish I lived there now just for some of the shenanigans that these two get into. But I'm like, I'm not even that far. I'm still in the Bronx, but I'm not that far. And I'm like, why was I not there for it?
Yeah.
Perfect example was Corona. Was it Corona St. Patty's Day?
Yeah, Corona St. Patty's Day.
If you guys have ever seen that video, or we'll send you the link for it, it's so funny, man.
I have. And so you guys are
It was
nuts.
just one of those moments, and it just spoke of its own. I was like, "Yo, you want to do this?" He's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And that's it.
That's how you can do it, because you're Tone from across the hall.
There. You're Tone from across the hall. That's hysterical, dude.
Yeah.
So when you guys record the podcast, though, are you guys usually? I mean, I guess you're in the same place, but now with the whole COVID thing, have you been able to do like Zoom or anything like that, or have you tried that kind of thing, or is that where you were having the problems with the audio?
We were trying Skype, so that's what happened earlier. But now with we tried Zoom with D&D the other day, and that seemed to work, right?
We did Skype last week. We did Zoom. Zoom does the better recording between the two. What we were doing before was that we were using this device. I'll pull it out for you so you guys can see it if you can. We were using the Zoom device, right?
Your screen,
Yeah, I guess.
So we were using this directly into the computer because it says that you can plug in directly to the computer, and it will separate the audio. So whatever connection was in the cord, I think that was what was messing up the audio. So then I was trying to figure out, from there, but then there were some issues that happened because again we're living in a COVID society. But no, so we finally got together. Me, Law, and Tony got to BS over Skype, and we decided to record the session of us BSing and just catching up. And the audio came out great. Then we did a D&D session Saturday, and it came out great again. So it was just lesson was try to use the in-app recording tools. So it records the video, and then in Skype it had set up everything perfectly in terms of where the screens were at. So I wasn't trying to play around with, okay, where did I put this person's screen? Where did I put this person's screen? Because I was always moving people's screen. I always had the little itty bitty baby screen, and I had to widen it so I could match everybody.
Yeah, for some reason, Skype mobile, you can snap all of the videos to the screen, at least up to like 4. With Zoom, you can just have everybody, as many people who are on the screen, kind of thing.
Yeah, we went through a lot of problems. We tried House Party, we tried Skype, we tried FaceTime, and we've always had issues. And so far, Zoom has been the one that we haven't had issues with yet.
I remember you were asking me like, "Yo, can you guys do the House Party?" I was like, "Only reason there's I guess with House Party." Because I know people that like to try to join your room.
I didn't realize it was literally a house party.
Yeah, you gotta lock it. So when you start with it, you gotta lock it so no one else can jump in. And the problem with house party is that people stumble over each other's audio. Zoom, it'll fade you out and let the other person highlight the person, and you'll hear that person. But in house party, everyone's just jumping on each other, and and it starts getting choppy.
I also had an issue. So my roommate had a house party going, and one of my boys from the neighborhood jumped in his house party, and my roommate is over here thinking that it's one of his boys. So he's like watching, he's talking, catching up, and then maybe 15 minutes in, he realizes it's my boy Kev, and he's just like, oh, and then just kept going because they know each other in passing, but they don't know each other. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? But it was one of those things. Kev is my friend, Dennis is my friend, and I don't know how house party worked, but they connected the two, and I was like, nah, I'm good with house party.
Yeah, I didn't even realize they had games in house parties. So you can play trivia games and you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah, it's kind of it's nuts. But so fellas, I'm just gonna go. Which one, or can you tell me a favorite show so far from the ones that you've done? Which one is your favorite show? And I'll start with you, Sebastian. Which one's your favorite show off the top of your head that you can think of that you were like, yo, that show was fun?
I have a few of them. I would have to say Tony and Law was the superhero sex tape because my boy Mike always talks about that episode and how you can do it Doctor Strange.
Oh man,
Tony and Law, when we started doing this, it's hard to pick, but I have to say it's our creator series, especially like I like to see when I love it when Tony and Law they just take it over the show and they're just like hammering with the questions and all that. Because before it's like we start this and it's like I've seen like I know Law comes from background, he's done podcasts. I know Tony's very good at speaking, and just seeing the growth between the both of them, and then like in the beginning, it's like we all stumble off of each other, but then it's just that growth and everything, and you see it definitely really in the creative episodes. And it's really hard to just pick a favorite one we're doing with these guys because even when we're just shooting the shit, it's just like bam, 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 bam. We're all firing off of each other, and it's just like. It starts the wheels in the machine. You see it start to move. You see, you would think that we were doing this for like 10 years already, just the way how we're just vibing off of each other.
Like
That's
unscripted, off the cuff.
yeah.
That's what we try to do.
Those are the best. What about you, Law? What's your favorite episode?
It's hard. I would say the most recent fun episodes we've had. The My Hero movie review was like so much fun to do. It like brought back every little bit of childhood nostalgia. Like you come home, you feel like a superhero, and you're playing around with your friends in like the parking lot. That was us. Like we were like that movie. Mind you, these two had already seen it. So the entire time I'm there, I'm just watching, and then I look at Tone, and I look at the screen, and and then we had to wait however many days after before we could actually record the episodes and do the review. But it was a lot of fun, man. A lot of our stuff when we get into a lot of our debate topics and we just back and forth with each other. A lot of stuff when we deep dive into like little nuances of stuff, like those are always fun to do. And then especially lately, the guests have been getting like each guest I've loved so far. I've loved every guest, and every guest can come back. But I don't know how it's been happening. It might be us, it might be them, but each guest has gotten significantly better each time, and it's like mind blowing. I'm like, all right, this guest was really good. It was dope. The next one gets there, and they were even better, and I'm like, what is happening?
That's awesome. What about you, Tom? What's one of your favorite episodes?
All right, so I do love the creator series, and I do have a special place for My Hero. But I would say my favorite episode that we did was the Minority in Comics. We did that. That was the three of us, and we had our friend Mike come on. He was a guest host. He was a guest panelist for that one. We did a bit of a deep dive on all the comics, Black Panther and whatnot. But we really started talking about Watchmen, and me and Lawrence had really got into the Watchmen series at that point. Sebastian has not finished it yet, and I will shame him always. But
it's good. I like it.
He watched the first episode, and I think we're like 5 episodes in at that point, and so it was a really good topic to talk about, especially about everything that was going on. So it was a little bit heavy, but it was also great to just kind of have that comfortability with the guys, just talking about it and how it's impacted us in our lives, just growing up, with this medium. So that was one of my favorite episodes.
That's awesome.
It's been cool to talk funny and talk about comics and whatever the case is, but we have episodes that get heavy or get like talk about real shit, and that was one of them that I felt very fortunate that I had a good crew that we can actually just talk that kind of stuff without any like sort of hesitation.
Yeah. How do you guys have like do you guys meet up before the show and say, okay, guys, we're going to be talking about this? Or how do the topics come up? Is it something like you guys are saying on the cuff, like you say, record, let's just talk about something? Or do you guys prep for that?
Well, what we do is this is I'll send out so I'll handle with like the guests, and I'll send it out to the guys. Like, listen, we're gonna interview this person. Then what Tony and Law will do, they'll find like topics like My Hero Academia or something like that, and we'll put them together. And then they'll let me know. So we'll each come with our role with doing that, with putting together. So each one of us runs that. Then we have we'll do like a Google Doc. We'll do like a calendar share of what we have coming on, so everyone's putting on. And then we just bombard Jessie with editing, and she looks at us and it's like,
Yes.
I feel like 90% of our audio is just us going, Jess, we love you. You're the best. We love you so much. Don't kill us.
Yeah.
Oh god.
We'll do we'll do those, and then everyone. Oh, we haven't done it in a while actually, but we'll do what we call the random nerdy ramblings, and that's when we'll just kind of be like, "Yo, we need to record an episode," and it's like, "What have you been watching? What are you looking forward to?" And we kind of just riff and just talk some bullshit, which are always fun, because we're just kind of catching up on all the news and just kind of just sharing it and giving our thoughts and our theories and things like that. So we do those like every once in a while where we're trying to figure out either between guests or between like a big piece of content that we want to talk about. So we'll do that.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. You guys really sound like it's you have it all under control with the show. Jesse seems to have the toughest part though.
So we have it under control because Jesse has it under control.
Yeah.
Do not get it twisted. Do not get it twisted that Jesse is the brains and the outfit. Like Jesse is the glue for the show.
Yeah, there's a lot of content in those episodes. It's like, that can't go up. We need to just cut that stuff out.
All right, let's say an episode we record is like an hour 20. I would say at least 20 minutes to 30 is getting cut because of certain things that we say that we're just like, yo, we can't, like, there's no way. But we get really into it. So like there's times where like me and Tom will go back and forth and just riff on fucking Seabass. Or Seabass will come and he'll riff on us about something. And it was just back and forth. And she's just looking at us like, get to the point, you guys.
Okay, she's there when you're recording this.
Yeah.
So for some of them, or she'll text us afterwards. She'll be like, listen to it. And then she'll text us the notes like, hey, next time, don't do this. We're like, oh, I'm sorry.
That is hysterical.
Yeah, I feel it more because I'm her husband, so.
Oh, she's the hardest. She's the hardest on him. She's the hardest on him. For us, she gives us our notes that we have to get, but Sebastian gets it the worst.
He gets the worst. Every little thing he does, it's just you'll see her just like like a goddamn air controller, just like doing this, like telling him to stop doing something.
You'll see her behind the camera, pop up, and just point at him with an angry face, like, "What are you doing? Don't do that. Put that down."
Yeah.
I think that type of energy though makes the show more fun because when guests come in and they see that, they get really comfortable and they're like, "Oh,
yeah," because it's not so serious that we're like this TV broadcast station and we have all these things. It's, you come by, you want a beer, we want to go do a store run, we're gonna get chopped cheese and shit, and you have fun, and then we'll get into the shit.
Yeah. No, I got to tell you, from somebody who was on the show with you guys made that, like, there's three of you, there's one of me. It's very intimidating when you're like, oh man, what? So, but as soon as I sat down with you guys, dude, it was like I knew you guys from like down the block. Like, oh wow, I'm about to go hang out with these guys and just talk about comics, and it was great. Thank you for having me on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Man. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you, man. Again, we're still trying to salvage that audio. We're gonna get you back on. We're gonna get Sam on there too with you.
Yeah,
we're gonna do this again. Come on.
Listen, I've been there. When I do my Geek Ronin podcast, we have the unaired like bad episodes that we're just like the podcast itself, like the content that we talked about with the guests was mint. Mm-hmm. But then we got the audio back and we're just like, oh my God.
Damn, dude.
It's just terrible. And it happens. So you gotta run with it and just keep going,
Yeah, well, I'm sure, Sam, you got some horror stories about some of our shows and how you've had to splice sound with.
Sure he does.
I record video and a separate audio track as well. And because of that, this whole virtual stuff, George will be moving his lips, and you don't hear anything, and it's like a kung fu flick. The audio comes after his lips move. So now I'm like, fuck. So I have to take the audio file and I have to line it up with his lips on the video file and try to, it's a nightmare. I'm like, seriously?
As someone who edits video and audio, like I don't envy that life, man.
Yeah, so you have to zoom
I
in.
do it because I do it because I have to, but it's not my my cup of tea.
Yes.
I'm purposely gonna do a recording where we're all talking, and then I'm gonna trade everybody's voices. That's it.
Oh,
That's enough for people.
just a bad dubbed film, dude. Just
For real.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Oh man!
But I'll have a job as an engineer after this. That's for sure.
Oh shoot, man! So what's next for you guys? What do you guys got going on? Well, what's going on with you, Tone? What do you got coming up?
I'm just hoping we get some. Once we figure out the whole audio thing, we can get some more, more episodes up. And I know Sebastian wants me to. We want to kind of do a project together. He wants me to take my D&D character, and I write, and then he draws. I know he's working on a piece right now, but I know that's something he definitely wants us to team up on.
All right.
Listen,
I would love to have little animated bits of Gallant and just have him on YouTube, but talking about like stuff not from the campaign, just him as himself, but just talking about like everyday stuff. So it was like, I'm a paladin knight for this, this, and this, and this, and I don't know how to use like the fax machine or something crazy like that. You know what I mean?
Gee.
It'd be so funny because I think like that's how his character is. He's so like innocent somewhat.
Not innocent. It's not innocent. It's not innocent.
not innocent.
Say innocent, like it's not true. Like he loved. Anyway, we're ripping off the backstory.
Wait. I just got to the point. The reason that this project came on because we're all getting together to write the origin stories of our D&D characters. When I read Tones, I was like, "Holy shit, he went in. This is dope. This is." And
I would say out of all of us, Tone had one of the better backstories that we all had to go back and look at our backstories and go, "Oh, I should."
We got trash. So, are you a writer, Tone, or like
No. Like I think we talked about it when we had you on. It was just I finished up my grad program and before the shit happened, when I was still going to school in person. And you're just used to writing either for schoolwork and projects and presentations and papers or writing for work and emails. And so this was the first, I would say the first real, creative writing piece I've ever done. I used to write for my friend's website, like pro bono. And that was like, reviewing games, reviewing phones, stuff like that. But this kind of just was like really just off the dome and like on the train, like wrote. And it was a very it was a different experience. It was something I never had before. So it was really cool. We're
gonna have him do more of it.
Yes, they want me to do more of it.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and Laura, I know you have the geekronin.com and you have You Can't Be Serious. Anything else that you may be working on that you want to tell people about?
Yeah, we always get into the what's law working on, and it's
more like what isn't law doing?
Yeah, I have trouble with that. So before all this happened, I did a series called Sessions where I have a lot of my friends who are like music artists. So it's kind of a behind the scenes of how they started their album concept and did the studio sessions, created the album, put out the album, the concerts and what have you. So the first artist that I had was a band called The Floating Lighthouse, which my buddy Tommy that we spoke about, that's his band. So it was five episodes for the first season, and I was working on season 2 with my buddy Demetrius, who we've had on our show and a bunch of shows at this point. Love that guy, and he's probably at like the tail end of his album being like finished. I want to say he has like maybe 2 or 3 more songs to record, and then everything happened, and we were like, "Oh, cool! I guess that's on pause." So essentially, me getting the videos, the interviews, and traveling all around with him. In December, he won. In December, he was invited to do a songwriting competition in Miami. So I went down with him to Miami, filmed the whole process down there. It's been really dope. But a lot of the stuff that's been happening, kind of like, this is the most use I get out of my camera, being used as a webcam right now. Like, it's so sad. But Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff here and there. A lot of video projects that are like on pause because of everything, and we're still gathering footage and finishing out the storylines and the outlines for them. But right now, Sessions, You Can't Be Serious, and In Search of a Plot Twist is my other big 3 projects
Nice.
that I got going on.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. What about you, Sebastian? What you got going on? What's coming up?
I'm working on 2 projects right now with InBeon. 2 original story ideas. One of them is revamping Dead Planet. It's no longer going to be called that, so it's a new name, which will be revealed once more of the artwork and the panels are done. So that will eventually be started off as a webcomic. What's funny is during COVID, I had sent my buddy Rich Dresden, who does Lucky Zilla, a character idea and drew it out. I was like, yo, because he likes giraffes, and I drew a giraffe called Donald's the Battle Giraffe. And I was like, this is for you, Rich. Enjoy. Love the idea so much. So now we're doing a collaboration of bringing a story for that character in his Lucky Zilla comics. And so that's just a cool collaboration. So we got to talk more of like how does it fit in his universe without changing too much and giving him a character. The other thing, a few months ago before we flew out, when we did this documentary, I was working with Flaw. I got approached by Wayward Raven, which I thank them because they helped me with my New York City Comic Con debut last year. They're a bunch of great guys, Mark, Alex, and Josh. So I was approached with actually doing a guest strip for Damn Heroes, which is their ongoing webcomic. So I'm about to finish strip number 3 because they release it in strips. So first 2 strips are done. Strip 3 is there. I think I'm doing maybe 6 strips altogether. 6 to 7 strips, and so that's going to be something as a guest artist for Wayward Raven on their web series, on their webcomic Damn Heroes.
Nice, nice, dude, nice. And just so you know, guys, this show is gonna air June 19th. Okay. Sebastian, we had you on. Your show is debuting the 29th of May, which is coming up. And it's funny because you're talking about Dead Planet, and you were telling us about that on the 29th of May. So by the time people see this, they're gonna be like, "There, this dude is still working on Dead Planet. What's going on?" It's June 19th, bro.
Dead Planet has been a work in the making since forever, though.
Since I met Sebastian, Dead Planet was a work in the making.
By the 19th, you'll have we'll put a little insert in there saying this is the update.
I'm gonna send you guys everything. You're gonna get the links, the artwork. It's out now. Don't bug Dead Planet anymore. We lock down the name, get some animations for it. It's been I have a lot of creations that are very dear to me. This is probably the most dear because it's the first and how it's spun off, because we talked about the history for it. And I was just sitting there just talking about it with Eric, and then things just started happening even more for it. This iteration had first started off as a prequel to the original story that I had written.
Right.
And then from there, this prequel had just fleshed out to be its own original. I loved the characters more in the prequel. I want to expand on it, and it just even with Law, and I totally seen some of the artwork because I sent it to the crew to take a look at it, let me know, get some feedback, take back some of the stuff, change it. So I've been working on a lot of the concept work. So again, it's trying to build this whole world. Because when I first released it, it did what it did. It was an introductory to the comic book universe, to what I could do with characters. It was more of a proving ground for me that I can do this. I finished the book.
Right.
Now it's I want to make a book that I want people to pick it up and can't wait to the animation's coming out. Oh, the live action's coming out. I really want to create something, because especially now, even when Law's putting me on and Tony, all these great animations, I'm now rewatching Hunter x Hunter. Thank you, Law.
Welcome, kid.
Stuff like that. It's
yo, listen, if that is not on your anime watch list and you've never watched it, go watch it right now. Forget everything else you've watched. Hunter x Hunter is one of the most OP animes, and I will put money on it.
I'll take you up on it. I'll watch it.
I'm writing down the title right now, dog.
There's two versions. Don't watch the old version. Watch the 2011 version. And I would say for most people, give it like 3 episodes to 5 episodes because they literally have a world to build. Everyone's like, oh, it didn't grab me from the first episode. I'm like, yeah, not every anime is gonna grab you from the first episode. It has to establish a world and introduce you to characters and whatnot. By the 5th episode, you're just like, what the fuck am I watching? It's real. It's definitely real.
No, I need to jump on that train.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're all gonna
tell you, man. There's characters, without giving too much away. There's characters who have bigger flexes than any characters you can name. Like, it's one of those things where your boy showed up with a shovel to a fight and was like, this ain't for me. Like, I'm coming for a body. It's a kid. He's maybe like 14, 15 years old and came with a shovel. Like, that's all I'm going to give you. He's one of my favorite characters. He's one of my favorite characters in the anime. He came with a shovel, was like, yo, I'm dropping bodies today.
That's freaking awesome, dude. Well, listen, guys, we love you having on the show. We gotta cut it right now, but dude, thank you guys for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Nah, for real. And definitely, I can't wait till you guys get back to the whole putting these episodes out. And what's the YouTube channel? Nerds from the Round, right? That's it?
Nerds of the Round, yep.
Nerds around.
Nerds of the Round, yeah. So yeah, definitely, if you guys listening, subscribe to Nerds of the Round. It's funny as hell. They got nice little bits like the one that you're talking about with the when you guys came over for the St. Patty's.
St. Patty's,
hysterical, dude, hysterical. You guys are really funny, man. Yeah, check it out. And
there is more content like that coming soon. Once we get back from COVID, there are more funny skits and sketches.
Once we can meet in person.
Yeah, man. I promise.
The last thing we did was the intro. What was it? The intro to the channel.
Yeah.
In the hallway.
Then the last big thing we did was Sebastian's birthday.
Oh,
okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Look at his face.
I want to talk about it.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that opening is like a sitcom opening. It's like one of those like 90s sitcom, 80s sitcom. You know what I mean?
I went full creamer, and it was like,
yeah. It's great. But guys, thanks again. Thanks for coming. We'll definitely have you guys on again, man.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care. Peace.
Take care.
Bye.
All right.
Dude, these guys are funny, bro.
That's a good episode. And you know what? I'm really impressed with Zoom. I mean, it was seamless. I mean, Law is the guy that came in last.
No, that was Tony.
Tony, his audio got a little choppy.
Yeah, he sounded like a robot.
Yeah. A couple of times. Every time he pulled back, when he got closer, it was fine. But no, I mean, there's a lot of talent in that group.
Yeah, no, they're good guys, dude, and they're funny, and they get. You can tell like the chemistry is real. Yes. They all get along.
Yes.
You got to check out some of the stuff that they do on their podcast. It's funny. They're funny guys.
You know, really I haven't seen it, but it reminded me of when we first started and how we with the skits. You know, we had Lyrical Sally, we had Books with John, we had I forgot what was the thing when we had where it was like this promoter. And it was like, I got something. I forgot. I gotta go back and play some of this stuff.
Yes, I do remember.
Right, bling was ching, cha-ching, whatever it was.
Yes, there was the promoter, like an agent almost.
Yes, the agent. Yes, and and then John and I did the theme song to Books, and my broke Jamaican accent. Yeah. We did some crazy stuff. So that
similar thing.
Yes,
similar. Yeah.
It reminds me of that.
Yeah, they're just having fun, man. They're having fun, and that's what it's all about. That's why I wanted to have them on the show, just so I could show you how these guys they do. They remind me of us, basically.
Yes.
Back in the day.
So
yeah, good group of guys.
We used to kick
good group of guys.
Yes. Yeah.
This is a long one, huh?
Is it? Yes, it is. This one was a long one. Yeah. You know what's crazy? I've had a long day. I've been up since 5 a.m. And so I'm sitting here trying to fight from falling asleep.
I
And
know.
so
I know. Like, I gotta cut this short.
I was like, because you forgot to ask Tony what's he up to because you went through the first two, but I guess
No, that was his first. Oh yeah. At the beginning when he came in later, though, right?
yeah. What happened to my color?
I don't know. You went different color right now.
Yeah,
What you hit?
I didn't hit nothing.
So what happened? So what were you saying?
Yeah. I think you asked them, and you forgot to ask him his question. Oh, that's interesting. My hue changed.
Yeah, it did.
¿Qué pasó?
You're a different color, son.
Yeah. Colors. That's I'm feeling blue. I don't know what happened with the color. I don't know where it came.
Blue.
I don't know where it came from. But no, that was a good show. I like the way the quality of Zoom. So thank you, Zoom. You actually came through on this one.
Yeah, no, right.
It was
this
easy.
Is the biggest. This was the biggest number of people on the screen at the same time.
And I want to do the reunion show with Anibal and Jonathan.
We can do it this way.
Yeah, we could do it this way with Zoom. That'll be hot. But no, it came out well. I didn't have to move any cubes around. Zoom automatically sizes everything for me. It was pretty cool. I just don't understand why it turned blue. I feel like I'm turning into a Smurf. But so when you were on their show, you went to their studio?
No, I was here at home. I did it from here.
Oh, you said when I sat down with you guys, it sounded like you were in the room with them.
No. Well, that's what it felt like. It felt like I was just kind of hanging out with the guys. Yeah, no. I did it from here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, it was good. Yeah, good guys. But anyway, you should get some rest, Sam. You look
yeah. So I'm gonna rush.
you look a little pale, bro. The hue just changed.
The huge. I don't know what happened there. It's like the camera's like, "Yo, dude, we've been working all day."
Yeah, it's the way you feel right now.
So
Anyway.
I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and that's
George, the Dreamer Medina. That beat you.
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy. I'm so crazy. You so crazy.
Acquiesce.
Crazy.
No, it's about my friend Acquiesce.
Say my name, right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh,
You are listening to
He described me. He said, "I'm the."
to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.
Candy girl.